It's kind of weird because Jake Paul is extremely bigger than Tank, and I mean, but with it being a exhibition, makes sense.
Like this. First of all, if you're a boxer and you're not taking note or notice of what Jake Paul is doing, you're worried about criticizing his boxing skills, then you're the fool.
Paul versus Tank Davis, they just announced the fight. What's your instant reaction to that?
I don't know what's going to happen with a 135-pounder going up against a 200-pounder. I think it's not a real fight. Jake just too big.
When two of boxing's most polarizing figures, YouTuber turned boxer Jake Paul and pound-for-pound dynamo Gervonta Tank Davis finally meet, legends of the sport are already placing their baits. Tank brings knockout power, blistering speed, and experience at the elite level, while Paul enters with the weight of public expectation and a history of shocking doubters. Many boxing icons expect Davis to dominate with precision and movement, but others argue Paul's height, reach, and his knack for pulling off upsets could make this the shocker of the year.
If you likes this, please subscribe, Fight File, and click the bell icon for more new boxing updates.
Well, fair play. If he does go out and fight Anthony Joshua, which I wouldn't advise because that would be extremely dangerous, then fair play if he was to do that. And all the critics and people like myself would have to shut the hell up, because I always said he's looking for fights that were manufactured, looking for fights that were predetermined. And by that, I don't mean fake fights. I don't mean fixed fights. I mean fights where the odds are so stacked in his favor that of course he's going to win. And of course, we see this. The latest match that's going to go down November 14th at the State Farm Arena in Atlanta, Georgia. Jake Paul is taking on, you've seen it by now, Gervonta Tank Davis. A man that is a lightweight in boxing. Now, lightweight in MMA is 155 pounds. Lightweight in boxing, 135 pounds. Jake Paul, I think when he weighed in for Mike Tyson, was 227 pounds.
Official weight, 227.2 pounds.
That is, if I'm not mistaken, a 92-pound weight difference. Almost a 100-pound weight difference. It's insane. Let's say he comes in at 200 pounds. It's still a 65-pound weight advantage, which is absolutely ridiculous. How can you be out there claiming to want to fight the best people on the planet and then going out there and taking on a guy that is maybe 92 pounds heavier, that is at least 65 pounds heavier than you? That is called one thing. That's called being a bully. It was bad enough when he fought Mike Tyson, a man that was 58 years old, and he was walking around like, oh, I just beat the man on the planet. I just destroyed Mike Tyson and went out there and I beat him, and him and his brother are all celebrating and shit like that. It's like, dude, what are you doing?
The fight also comes with a big twist. Its location has changed. Instead of Atlanta, Jake Paul will now face Gervonta Davis on November 14th at the Casella Center in Miami. MVP Promotions tweeted, "The war is no longer in Atlanta. Jake Paul versus Gervonta Tank Davis is taking over Miami. Same date, same fight, new city. The bout will stream worldwide on Netflix." And while it's officially described as an exhibition, many still call it more spectacle than sport. One of the biggest controversies? The size difference. In his last fight, Paul weighed in at about 199 pounds at cruiserweight, while Davis has been fighting closer to 135 pounds. Because of that massive gap, Davis's WBA lightweight title won't be on the line.
Boxing fans are losing their minds over this Jake Paul versus Tank Davis fight. And honestly, can you blame them? Why would Tank agree to this? I mean, look at the graphic. Jake is 6'1", 199 pounds with a 6'4" wingspan. Tank, 5'5", 133 pounds, a 5'7" wingspan. Tank fighting me would be a fairer matchup. We're basically the same size. And you wonder why fans think Jake's fights are rigged? Because every time we see some nonsense like this, it feels like WWE with boxing gloves. Here's the kicker though. Jake threatened to sue anyone who calls his fights rigged. Yeah, you know, the same guy who preaches freedom of speech now wants to ban opinions. After that clown show with Mike Tyson that left everyone scratching their heads. Maybe, and I'm just throwing it out there, If your own management company wasn't promoting and sponsoring your fights, fans might actually believe what they're watching. Until then, don't be mad that people are skeptical. Be mad that your boxing career looks more like a scripted reality.
With no contract weight, no confirmed round length, and unclear rules, fans question whether this will resemble a real pro bout or more of a crossover entertainment event.
Tank is not the guy that knows how to sell a fight. Tank cannot sell a fight in his own division. You have the Paul brothers and they come over to boxing. Their idea from day one is we don't have the skills or the experience. What we're gonna do is we'll take on the absolute best guys, but they're gonna spot us some pound. Tank has one job to do, that it doesn't make any difference, that boxing is a real sport. My skills versus your skill, of which I am an abundance of and of which you have none of. Tank is telling anybody that will listen that there's a size problem. My skills and my experience in boxing, I do not have to wonder who's in the bar tonight. Any bar I go to, I rule the bar. Well, no, it turns out that you don't. Just need some big guy to corner you, apparently. Boxing has never stood its ground. Boxing has never been able to explain why Floyd needed a half hour to get rid of a guy who's never boxed before. Tank Davis has already began this. When you choose a dum-dum, don't be surprised when he goes out and acts like a dum-dum.
Terrence Crawford has voiced skepticism. He says the fight looks more like a sparring session dressed up as a blockbuster. While Crawford acknowledges Tank's elite skills, he warns that Paul's bigger frame could be dangerous if he lands clean. But ultimately, Crawford doubts the fight will follow normal professional standards, calling the matchup unequal from the start.
Paul versus Tank Davis, they just announced the fight. What's your instant reaction to that?
I don't know what's going to happen with a 135-pounder going up against a 200-pounder. I think it's not a real fight. Jake just too big. Tank ain't gonna be able to get in from that jab. Jake land one good punch on Tank, it's over.
Shocker Stevenson, also undefeated and highly respected, agrees on the size issue, but sees no real threat to Tank. Stevenson believes Davis's technical skill, ring IQ, and movement will carry the day easily. He predicts Tank won't try to overpower Paul, but instead outbox him across the rounds, likely winning a decision. To Stevenson, Paul doesn't have the refinement to match Davis's speed and precision. Still, he criticizes the fight as a spectacle, suggesting it disrespects boxing's competitive traditions. So the question remains when Jake Paul meets Gervonta Davis.
He's here when you've got what is like a 70-pound difference between these two guys.
I mean, size will play some part of the fight, but if I'm thinking like I'm Tank, I'm probably just gonna go out there and try to outbox him and use my knowledge and IQ against him. So I can see Tank just outboxing him and making it real easy.
Is there any way you could, any realistic or legitimate way in your mind you could see Jake Paul winning a fight against Tank?
No.
No way.
Nope.
Not a lot of people have talked about Jake and said he's got good power. Not even and I get anything could technically happen, but you don't even see a realistic shot where he could land one big punch and Tank being so much smaller, he just can't handle the power.
Nah, not at all. I think Tank is he's been boxing his whole life. Been boxing since a kid, so I doubt like that's gonna be an issue or problem. I think Jake is good for where he's at, but I think it's just levels.
What wins, skill or size? Drop your predictions in the comments.